Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a week now, and so far, yeah, kinda good. So I'm currently in creative mode. Let's get my shield out of the way first. So I'm currently in creative mode, and the explanation behind that is, well, what I actually want to do this for this episode is take a look at the server, because this is actually the last episode in this specific seed. Why, I'll tell you later. So let's take a look at what people already did in 1 week. So this was Aaron's house at the very start. It's the communist hub, and it was serving as, you know, a house for Aaron, but yeah, he just abandoned it after a while. There's a few things in here. There's nothing much to be found for the rest of it. You know, they're just your basic stuff that you can see. And I dropped these things in here, by the way. Yeah, so for a week, I think it's less than a week even. People really did their best. I mean, potatoes, carrots, pumpkins, they found a lot. Some people really went exploring right away. Others just stayed here and built their houses. And yeah, over there we'll go over that in a bit. So let's take a look at this. Here we have Cornelis's house, and he actually got a couple people to play with us. And yeah, he did quite a lot actually. I'm going to be giving this world away to everybody. I'm not entirely sure on how I'm going to do that yet. I also know that the phrase "I'm not entirely sure," I say that a lot. Don't know why I do that, by the way. So this was his enchanting room, but for some reason this was griefed. So here is Kazui's house, and it doesn't really have a lot in there, as you can see. It's just a tiny house. I'm also not sure on how he got those prismarine blocks as of yet. Maybe he found I'm honestly not sure. So you can see there's an entire pathway. Here's a destroyed house, by the way. Yeah, this is a friend of Cornelis, I believe it was. So the story behind this was, yeah, I believe he got pranked, and he got pranked real good. Then over here we have an entire pathway, including bridges to the across the river / lakes. And then here we have this part, and here's where it gets interesting, because we had Rizzo, Aaron, Nero's house is over there. I'll go over that in a bit, as already stated. So there were a couple people that were having an argument with each other, and they wanted me to fix that. And of course, it wasn't an argument, it was basically trolling each other. Now, I figured that this would happen, that people would want to troll each other eventually. But what makes a troll a good troll? I was thinking that at first people weren't going to be blowing up houses, but apparently, such as you can see in that house over there, eventually it just gets a little bit worse. I also appreciate the time that somebody took to make this work, to just do this, because this is taking a lot of effort. And I'm not only talking about the outside, because the inside, first need to get to the inside. What the fuck is the inside? Here's the inside. You can clearly see that it's fully covered. Even the roof is just done. It's all just done for. I kinda like the effort that was put into this, and it's also a good troll, but it also feels to me that, you know, this will take a lot of time to get out of to actually get the water out of your fucking house and outside of your house. But anyway, that aside, you can expect this in a communist server. You can expect people doing this if you troll them, because this was Rizzo's house. Rizzo already trolled a couple people, and of course, people are going to get you back for that. And after a while, you know, franking each other, it starts to get worse and worse, and eventually you'll get, you know, that outcome. So let's take a look at Nero's house for a bit, because the same thing happened to him. I believe this was Rizzo's doing. And yeah, there was a nice farm over here. There was a sheep farm, and I also think that this is fully covered as well. Yeah, it's also on the inside. I also told people not to, you know, steal things from each other, but it's a communism server, so it kind of was that you just have to play with each other. At the beginning, I stated that there were no rules, but after a while, I started to feel like I had to enforce a couple rules, because people were just going over it too quickly. This is my house, by the way. It's just your standard house, and of course somebody was pranking me. Is the entire... yeah, somebody got me good over there. Somebody really got me good. Okay, obsidian entirely. This is Aaron's dildo shooter or whatever, and yeah, he just yeah, I pranked him back with putting all of his chests on top of here, but he already fixed that. And yeah, I mean, It's not the building that I think it's best made, because that's Nero's house. Unfortunately, it's completely walled over. But it's the biggest build that there is, and it kind of I'm not sure on what it looks like. It looks like a rocket upside down, and it kind of looks like a butt plug. It looks like a deal. You get my point. So why is this the last episode here? Yeah, we really had the weirdest biomes at first. Like, we had a swamp, we had a... Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even see this. But we didn't have a... you usually spawn in a, you know, a mega biome, yeah, a mega hill biome, or extreme hills biome is what it's called, plains biome. But here we had this one, we had the savannah, we had a desert, we had a swamp at the beginning. But like I stated at the very first of this thing, it's going to be the last episode in here as well. The fights were continuing. The pranks eventually became fights. People also came to me complaining about that they lost their items because of clear lag. Yeah, you can see it right here, right there. I put that plugin in there. I need to get rid of that because it's not the thing that I want to be doing in here. Because if you lose your items, you kind of just lose your items for good because of that clear lag. But that aside, it's a communist server. What else do you expect? Honestly, I enforced no rules, and I said it was going to be a communist server. Let me reiterate, let me recapitulate. I enforced no rules, so basically everything was allowed. You guys are actually following that rule that nothing is allowed. And when you don't get what you want, or when you lose something that you had some feelings with, you start complaining. You start complaining to me that your house is getting griefed, that your house is underwater, your house is... again underwater, your house is destroyed. If you prank somebody, for example me, I'm not going to be destroying your house, but if it's somebody else, if you're like example Nero, if you keep killing him at the spawn, of course you're expecting this. Of course, if you're maybe griefing Nero or killing Nero, you can expect that to happen. I said no rules from the start. What part of no rules do people not understand? Because when I wanted to enforce some rules, people started saying, hey, I don't want to, you said no rules from the beginning, so why would you enforce them now? Because I thought that it would be common sense not to destroy somebody else's build. And if something's not how you want it, why do you start complaining? You know, if you have your house griefed, why do you start complaining? I mean, if you have this happening to your house, then you shouldn't have done that to somebody else's house, for example. If you play the ball, you can expect the ball to come back. It's a communist server. I don't know what else to say about this. It's just like, it's common sense that if you prank someone and the guy or girl actually knows that you're pranking him, you can expect a prank back. And of course they get worse and worse each time. You can clearly see how much effort people take to prank you. I don't want to hear anybody complain because you joined the server and you accepted the no rules thing. And if you do that, then you shouldn't be complaining to me, because that's all they do. You can't complain to me like, hey, he destroyed my build. You decided to prank him. Of course he's going to prank you back. Of course he's going to blow up your house. Of course he's going to do this. You can't complain to me about things that you've done yourself. Because I wanted to make the rule no building is allowed, and I also wanted to enforce some other rules, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, don't enforce any rules. So if you want me to do something about it, then let me do something about it. And if you don't let me do something about it, then I can't help you whatsoever. So here's the clearing. What I'm going to be doing with this server from now on is there'll be a brand new world. You can come in whenever you want, and I don't want to hear any more complaints. Yeah, and now I'm complaining about people complaining. Can you see how bad this actually went? At first it was all fine and dandy, but when the pranks started to be happening, it was like it just went from bad to worse. And I kinda don't want that to happen, but I enforce no rules, so what else did I expect? So guys, the next episode is not going to be a show off, but it's actually going to be me going into a survival with you guys. Of course, watching as well as playing with you. The server IP is still the same, but honestly, what I want to see from people from now on is a good attitude, no more complaining. Unfortunately, this started to become a rant video, but I kinda had to actually rant about this. I want to thank everybody that made the server possible so far. There's already been a couple dozen people on here, and you can see that it's clearly already going way way faster than I thought, because we also have a mob spawner right over there. We have a ton of things, and there were a couple of ingenious builds in terms of traps and shit, and I loved that. But the fact of the matter is, people think that they have the right to complain to me about things that I didn't even, you know, I didn't even enforce, or the rules that don't even exist. You can't complain to me about that stuff, except for the part that your clear lag cleared your sword, Nero. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Second episode is of course going to be a regular one. This has to be a normal rant video. What else did you expect from me?